Hey, we're back to the Spanglish Show with Nelson Martinez. Thank you again for following us. And our special guest today, Santiago and James, Spanish.
That is my
English.
real name, Santiago Alberto.
Pues, sí, ahí está. That is his real name, Santiago, the dad here. And of course, Angel or Angel. Did they call you Angel at any time?
Yeah,
Más o
sometimes
menos,
some
Angel?
people do, yeah.
And of course, the star of the show, really, the Mariachi Rams. Not to decline, not to diminish any of your glory that you deserve, but I am telling you, this gentleman here is known throughout the Americas. Wouldn't be glad to say that, más o menos, especially LA and the LA Rams y todo eso. Por favor, Santiago Alberto, thank you again for joining us. Tell me about that adventure and joining the Rams, and that whole thing came together, and you told me about Jose Hernandez and all of that.
Yeah.
But then you were with all these people, the perks.
Yeah, so growing up, as a little kid in Española, with my parents who had traveled the world and done their thing, as I got into music, my dream became to move to Los Angeles and play mariachi, because I knew that some of the best mariachis in the world are in Los Angeles. So I got the opportunity to go to the University of New Mexico. As I was finishing up there, I got a call also from Jose Hernandez to help me out a lot.
Yes.
For a school that he was starting in Los Angeles, and they needed teachers qualified who could teach mariachi. So I thought, wow, this is my chance to go to Los Angeles, and I'll have a job there when I get there. So it worked out, like you say, the universe, the spirits. When you manifest it and you put it out there,
Yes, put it out
some
there.
things happen where they just come together, where you don't have to really push and try super hard. You do your work too, but it helps you. You know.
Fall into synchronicity with the universe.
Exactly.
You can't fail.
So it worked out. I was able to go to LA. I started teaching in the program and giving back, to the kids, and also started playing with different mariachis in LA and getting that experience. I grew up listening to Juan Gabriel and all the greats, growing up. I would watch Juan Gabriel's mariachi rehearse at his ranch sometimes. They would come, and I used to just watch them as a kid, and I would just sit there like a little sponge.
Ahí está.
I'd listen to the recordings and the concerts, and I'd memorize all that stuff. And I didn't know how to actually play the instrument till 7th grade. I started taking the class with my teacher, Mr. Alfonso Trujillo.
Bless his heart.
In Española. And that's where I started gaining the skills to play mariachi, and I went to the mariachi conferences, like here at Mariachi Spectacular.
Yeah.
Alberta Fresca started with Jose.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of a product of that. They introduced me, they were able to bring the mariachi world to Albuquerque. And I just happened to be in the right spot to meet all these people. We had all these icons of mariachi they would always bring, and now many of them have already passed. It's sad of Don Rigoberto Alfaro, he just passed. Jesus Rodriguez de Higar, Ruben Fuentes, you name it. But I happened to be coming at a time where all those maestros were here, so I'd be able to pick up little things from each of them every time they'd come. So I would put all that, what I knew, into when I was playing in LA and learning from all the people out there. I still learn from everybody. And eventually I made my way into a group of the Mariachi Rams. I never thought there would be that wasn't even in my dream. I thought maybe one day I could play in Sol de Mexico or something like that. And it worked out where I ended up being part of this other mariachi, and my love for sports and mariachi came together in a way I never would have imagined. And so, we've been doing the Mariachi Rams for 6 years now.
6 years. Wow.
We got to be a part of the Super Bowl in 2021.
You did the pre-show, right? Something like that, because I was looking for you. I had,
we played a pregame show there for the friends and family of the players. They had like a special setup for them, and so we played some of our hits. The Mariachi Rams, we play all the classics, El Son de la Negra. We try to play sones and traditional.
Los que conocen, Cielito Lindo.
And then we mix in some different stuff. So Jose Hernandez was cool with me, and he knows that I love to arrange and I produce my music.
Yeah.
So he told me, hey, the Rams asked for Tupac, Dr. Dre, California Love. It's a rap song. You want to take a stab at arranging it for the group? And I said, yeah, of course. Whoa. So I made an arrangement of that, and the fans loved it too. We mixed that in with mariachi, And I rapped, now let me welcome everybody. I've never rapped before, but I learned it for that. And it was a hit. The mariachi, too, we all put on our shades for that one. To do something different, because Mariachi Rams is kind of its own thing, right?
Yeah, right.
So we thought, well, it's LA, when we do the rap thing, we're all going to take out our glasses. So we played our traditional stuff, and then we put on our shades. Character
Methodically.
Yeah, so it's fun. We do a lot of things like that. And then little by little, Jose would let me do some of the arrangements for the group, and so I've done like tequila, we do that, Oye Como Va, Lowrider.
And most of this stuff is on YouTube, maybe?
Yeah.
When you did on the network there, or when you did the games and stuff. And my apologies, I feel so bad. The Rams lost yesterday.
Oh, I know. But they had a great season. They didn't go down without a fight.
And I shouldn't say yesterday because that kind of dates this thing. But that was whatever it was. But anyway.
Yeah, we did a cool collaboration with Cheech Marin. They brought him in. We did a mariachi ride-along.
Wow. Do you remember that Cheech Marin when you brought him into that concert?
1988.
In 88, was it?
And you were the MC?
I was the MC. Then we went to dinner at Rancho de Chimayo
Yes,
with the governor and with the Cheech. I know that you mentioned Cheech belling off there.
Yeah,
So
it's
much
funny how
fun.
things
full
come in
circle.
full circle.
Yeah.
I was so grateful to him to inviting me to MC that show.
That's so cool.
And I was like idle. I don't even know what.
No, you were pretty well known at the time. That's why I
Was that
I
what
invited
I don't
you.
even remember how did that, but it worked out. It was
And
a
Anthony
wonderful
Martinez, a
thing.
friend of ours, was involved also.
Yeah. Oh, it was good times. Still having a good time, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is a new phase of our lives. And I'm going to follow you until I drop dead. Because you're so talented and spiritual. I see it all. And I can tell you don't do the drogas because you'd look like shit if you did.
Yeah,
And
I stay away from that.
No, I can tell. And you know what I always used to tell kids when I went to the schools? And I said, we're born, our heart is clean and beautiful and boom, 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 and it's right on, right on. And then we lose our wings when we start, falling into the bad habits of putting foreign stuff in there, and your heart starts to beat faster because it wants to get the poison out of there.
Yeah.
It changes the whole chemistry. And those don't do that.
For me, my natural drug is music
Yeah.
and just, positive energy, being around good people, having fun,
Yeah.
doing what you love. And my parents, too, they played a role in I think, I didn't know at the time when I was a kid, but they'd always tell me about who are your friends, that kid over there, maybe go hang out with this other kid, he seems like he likes the things you like, and they notice, maybe kids who might have been a bad influence on me,
Yeah.
and now I look back and I think, wow, like had I hung out with this group of kids, I might have they would have convinced me, hey, mariachi's dumb, man. That's not
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'd get people once in a while like, oh, why do you play mariachi? That's kind of cheesy. Don't you want to do something else? But I knew in my head that I loved it and I wanted to do it.
And Juan Gabriel saw the talent in him, and
Of course.
that he bought him his first vihuela. Juan Gabriel.
De veras, sí, qué
My first like professional level vihuela, because there's this maker in Guadalajara that's famous for making vihuelas,
Sí.
guitarrones, and I tell my parents,
Yeah.
one day I want to have a Roberto Morales vihuela. That would
Ay.
be so neat.
Oh, yeah.
And so my dad asked the vihuela player, they were rehearsing at the ranch, hey, what kind of vihuela do you have? Oh, es un Roberto Morales. Ah, see, would you sell it to me? Yeah, when we leave to Mexico, I'll leave it here. You could buy it. And so my dad got the vihuela for me and everything, but he didn't have all the cash on him at the time, right? So you borrowed it from Tio Alberto.
Yeah. And then he says, you don't have to pay me back. I want to give it to him. That's my gift to him.
Yes.
And I still have that vihuela, and that's my favorite one.
Of course
I
it
use
is.
it on all my recordings.
And as you were talking about the friends you hang out with, you know the dicho, de ese dicho. Dime con quién te juntas y te digo quién eres. Tell me who you hang out with, I'll tell you who you are.
What do you mean your DJ canceled? Don't panic. Lessmans can help you. You can rent a sound system for your event at Lessmans Pro Audio and Lighting, and they can also show you how to use the sound system you rent. Don't forget, Lessmans also has film equipment, projectors, screens, plus much more. Make your event more memorable with Lessmans Pro Audio and Lighting. Visit Lessmans today at 5413 Lomas Northeast or online at lessmans.com or call 268-2111. That's 268-2111. Lessmans, mean gear.
La Mexicana Tortilla Company has been family-owned and operated for over 90 years, since its establishment in 1932. Check out one of their famous items, the Breaking Bad Burger. La Mexicana Tortilla Company. 304 Cole Avenue Southwest, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Juan Gabriel was very good to us.
Yes.
He, a lot of people, say all these things about Juan Gabriel, but to us, he's a gentleman, real gentleman.
And family.
He was good.
He was family.
He was
He was
family.
more than a friend. He became family.
I wish I would have met him. I swear.
You know, one of the
I met
things
Lola Beltran.
that we always talk about when we all get together, like at Christmas or whatever, is, we had such a deep bond with Juan Gabriel that one of our favorite memories, I think, and it wasn't just one memory, it was like every year when it was Christmas time, he would invite us to the ranch. Vengan al rancho, vamos a tener una fiesta. It was Christmas Eve, it was Christmas Day, and then it was New Year's Eve, and then it was New Year's Day, and it was, I cooked him his first Thanksgiving meal. We'll rewind to that ahorita.
Yeah.
But then it would be his birthday, which he loved his birthday, and he would bring in his mariachis from Mexico to play. He had a little saloon. He had a western town that Jimmy designed for him at the time.
There at the
in El
Nambe.
Rancho in Nambe.
Yes.
And he had a saloon, western, and it was
Everything
beautiful.
western.
Yeah, the wooden, decor and everything. And he would bring in Lucha Villa. He would bring Amalia Mendoza, and he would bring in. There'd be maybe like 50 people that would be there, and we'd always be invited. I just feel so blessed.
Yeah.
And he would invite us to entertain. We sang. Each of us sang at his birthday party in Las Vegas, Nevada. The ones he had at the ranch. We would be the entertainment for him. His kids would get up and sing. We would put on like a whole show, or his Chuy Salas, his manager, would call me up. Mira, quiero que tú te vas a vestir como Marilyn Monroe y luego vas a venir bajando los escalones y vas a estar cantando Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend y luego le vas a cantar Happy Birthday, Mr. President.
And did you?
Y luego Santiago, tú vas a ser Michael Jackson. Okay, so he would tell us like what we were going to do, and then his kids would come out and do stuff, and he would just be sitting there. He'd be applauding us, and we would be entertaining him,
Cool. How
And he
nice
was
is
so
that?
wonderful about it. And so, like, at one point we had a band, and Santiago was the drummer because he started off by playing drums.
Mira.
And of course, Santiago se llevó la noche because, everybody wanted to see the little drummer who was over there.
¿Cuántos años tenías? How old were you?
7.
7.
When he started, on the drums.
So tell me about some of the conversations you may have had with Juan Gabriel. And what did you call him? Padrino or
I always call him Tío Alberto.
Tío Alberto?
From a little kid, hi, Tío Alberto.
Tell him about
¿cómo
the
estás?"
last time we saw him in Cancun.
Oh, yeah.
We
So,
wanted him to stay there.
Oh.
He was going to open up
Yeah.
the school, and he would be the
Director or
director of
something?
the school. Yeah.
Oh, special.
Had
it
to
was
come back.
fun spending time with him. Everyone would always want to, hang
Piece
out
of
with
him,
him or
yeah.
something. So I never like pushed myself on him. And
Sure,
once in a while he'd
Yeah.
come up to you and he.
Yeah.
So like the last time we got to hang out was in Cancun in 2014, I believe. We went to spend Christmas there with him,
No.
and so he was working on his Duos album at the time. Those weren't out yet, and so I remember because he knew how much I love mariachi. When we got there, we kind of had like a little jam session. We got out the guitar.
Oh my
We
God.
were kind of singing.
And he came out in his pajamas, remember?
Yeah. So we were just having fun, playing on the guitar and stuff, and then he tells me, "Mañana tengo una sorpresa para ti." And I said, "Oh, okay, cool. Sí, mañana vamos a ir al estudio," because he had his studio. Okay, and I was excited because I'm a nerd for recording studio and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
love being in the studio.
You bet.
So the next day we go to the studio, and he says, "I'm going to show you my new album that we're working on. I want to see what you think about it." So we started listening to the Duos album. Mark
Duos?
Anthony. Duos. He has
Duets?
Duos Uno.
Duets.
Yeah.
Duos.
Yeah.
It's a series of albums. Duos Uno, Duos
Dos,
Dos. I
tres.
think there's tres, and
Yeah.
I think Cuatro still isn't out yet.
Whoa.
And so we started listening to some of the music. It was really cool being in the studio with him, watching how he listened to his own music. He
Yes,
was
yes.
very into the spiritual aspect of all these things and feeling the music. He wouldn't just listen and be like, "Oh, I can't. We need more guitarrón. We need more strings here. I want my voice here." It was about how the music felt, not.
Yeah.
know.
And you were observing.
And I noticed when we were listening to the music, he would sit there. The music would be playing. We'd all be sitting there, how anyone would sit listening to music. He would go like this. He'd cover his face and his eye. He'd close his eyes and cover them, so it was total darkness.
Total darkness.
And he would just be like this, listening. And then you'd see him move. He'd be like. It was interesting just to see
How special, dude.
how he was.
How special. That
That's
guy
how
was
deeply-
number. I don't know if there's a
about the
number.
music.
Yeah.
He was so.
The greatest.
And to command the audiences he has.
Oh my God.
That in itself, that emanates from him.
We went
That's
to
a
one of
gift.
his last
In that case.
one of his
Yeah.
last concerts in Denver.
Yeah.
And it was, in my opinion, it was the best concert that I ever saw with him, because I went to about maybe 30, 40 of his concerts, you know, I traveled with him. And Santiago and I were there, and we talked to him before the show, remember? And that was the last time that I saw him, the last time
Oh, wow, that
I
must have
talked
been
to
a shocker
him.
to you.
So when we were in Cancun, we were jamming, and he tells me the story about the first song he learned how to sing when he was a little boy in the.
Quítate, we would say,
Orphanage.
quítate.
He
You're
said- he tells me,
kidding.
te voy a enseñar una canción, algo que yo aprendí a los 7 años, por el hombre por cual me puse Juan. His teacher, Juanito. That's why he went by Juan Gabriel. Juan after his teacher, and Gabriel after his dad. And it was a song called Nuestro Gran Amor by Cuco Sanchez.
Mira.
So he sang it to me, and I had never heard that song
Oh, but he
before.
said, por el nombre que...
No, well, I'm getting there. So he tells me this. It was like he had a profound way of speaking too. He would speak, but he spoke almost in poetry, the way his songs are. So he says, te voy a enseñar esta canción por el hombre, por yo puse Juan. Ahora tú te vas a aprender esta canción por el hombre por cual te amas, Alberto.
Jesus.
And I have a recording. I was recording
you
on
were
my
rolling.
voice notes. We were jamming, and so it
I
was
stopped.
special to learn that song, and I learned it and stuff. It was really special just for him to share that.
And so you learned it, did you record it yet? Because
I have recorded it, and actually there's a version with his voice on it too. But we never. It was gonna come out on my first album, but the legality of permissions for his voice and all this, it's a whole different thing. But it's
Another
there.
story.
So it was interesting that for him to share that with me, and so for him to be there on the first day I was born, as he would say, todos nacimos cantando, when you cry, right?
That's right.
So he heard my first performance was crying, I guess, right? Everybody comes out crying, right? And so later on, I got the chance to go to his very last concert. We didn't know it was going to be his last concert.
Ooh, of course not.
My dad was going to come with me. We had tickets. His son would always give us tickets, and he's really cool, Ivan.
Uh-huh.
And so my dad, he couldn't make it after all or something, and it was on a
Very
Friday.
last one.
And I had that extra ticket, and I thought, well, I have nobody to go with. Maybe I just won't go to the concert. We'll see him again at another concert. And something was telling me, you go to this concert, even if you're going to go by yourself, just go. I asked some of my friends, too. I reached out, and all my friends are mariachis. They're all gigging on Fridays, so no one could go. They all had gigs.
Yeah, right.
And so I thought, well, I'm going to go. I was teaching at the Mariachi Academy, so I left right away so I could make it to the concert. I left from Santa Ana, which is about an hour and a half to downtown LA, and I made it right. I walked in, and then the lights go down, and I didn't get to see him before the show. And so, everything's happening. I'm in there I was like the fifth row probably. And I was by myself, and it was really cool because I got to see the concert without any distraction. I was there alone just watching. He had this stage in the middle of the forum,
Yep.
which was a 360 stage.
Rotating, yeah.
It didn't even rotate. It was just one big stage, and he'd walk around and all that.
Uh-huh.
And so he saw me a few times, like when he first came to my section, he was there, and you could tell he kind of lit up. He could see. He would watch people.
Yeah.
If family went and they were sleeping, he would tell them after, "Hey, I saw you sleeping. I don't think I'm gonna give
Estamos
you
durmiendo en mi
tickets."
concierto.
So he knew I was there, and we saw each other, and that was our last connection. So for me, it's like I still get kind of like choked up about it. So my first day on Earth, he heard me sing, and his last concert, I got to hear him sing.
Oh, is that freaking special? Yeah, dude. Oh, that's special. How blessing you. How blessed you are, really. De veras. And to make that connection. Some people go, wow, how beautiful. Thank you for that story. My God. Y me hiciste llorar también.
Like I said
Me haces
before,
llorar.
Yes.
he was very good to us, very generous, and in fact, we went to see him at one of his homes. He had about 21 homes, and I got to see most of them.
Wow.
And I used to pay taxes and write, you know,
Yeah, write off his tax, or, yeah,
you know,
Take
pay
care
his
of it.
bills.
yeah.
And so,
Well, I got to see his bedroom here in Andre. I got a,
Yeah.
like tour, I got Yaqui. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Got the energy.
My favorite part was always the studio, the western town.
oh yeah.
Wow.
And then you walk in, it's like inside of a spaceship, the two contrasting.
Yeah, no kidding.
He calls me up one night at 3 o'clock in the morning and he says, and it was raining crazy hard.
Yeah.
And he says, se está goteando el estudio, Jaime, ven ayúdame, porque está goteándose. They were working on the roof,
Sí, sí, sí.
and the roof wasn't completely finished. And then there was a lot of water coming in through La Sequia was overflowing, and the water was coming into the studio as well. He says, ven ayúdame. So I get over there, I got dressed, and I go, about 3 in the morning, and so there we are with buckets.
Hello.
Him and I tried getting some water out of, keeping it out of the, you know.
Yeah, the equipment in the
All
studio
the
and all of that.
equipment, yeah.
Sure.
And so he was like, you know, in his pajamas, and I just threw on some clothes.
What great memories, huh?
So at one time he bought a home in Pacific Palisades and he invited us to go up there to his home. Okay, and so we get there, you know, y tenía una señora que cocinaba para él y le gustaba pedirle que nos hiciera burritos.
Burritos.
So Juan Gabriel me dice, tú sabes escribir canciones, ¿no? So, mira, aquí tengo una música, ¿qué prefieres? I want you to translate some songs for me. English to Spanish or Spanish to English. And I said, well, dámelas en español, yo las pongo en inglés. So me dio un cassette.
Sí.
And we went out to this shop to go get a recorder, you know, so we
Player,
could
yeah.
so we could play the cassette and I could make a recording of the Spanish lyrics or whatever.
Right.
And supposedly where Michael Jackson used to shop for his audio gear down the street, you know.
Wow,
Okay.
he didn't
So
come
I'm
to
like, oh,
Lesmans?
mira,
Yeah.
he couldn't come to Lesmans, unfortunately. But anyway, so then yo me subía al cuarto arriba ahí en su mansion, you know, in Pacific Palisades, y me ponía con la recorder. Y luego estaba un muchacho ahí que se llamaba André y pensaron que estaba agarrando un heart attack o algo así. And he had this big white stretch limo. And so he says, we have to go to the hospital and take André because we think he's having a heart attack. You stay here, but we're going to leave. We're going to go. You stay here, and if you're hungry, ask the lady for a burrito or whatever. But ya me cansé de burritos, and I was upstairs, and I'm like, I need a break, and I'm in Pacific Palisades. I want to check out this place. So I go downstairs, and me encontré una bike in a garage. And I thought, oh, I want to go ride the neighborhood. This bike, I get on the bike and I'm looking at, look at that mansion, look at that yard and those flowers. Oh, I'm over there riding the bike, like, you know, bien suave and all that, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And all of a sudden I see this white limo coming. I'm thinking, oh my God, I wonder who that is. Maybe it's John Travolta or somebody, and I'll get to wave, you know. And so I'm riding the bike and all that. And they opened the window because Jimmy was in there and he goes, ¿Y quién será esa muchacha? ¿Será la Goldie Hawn que en la bicicleta? They thought they saw a movie star and I'm on the bike. And then they open the window and go, oh,
It's
eres
you.
tú. And I'm like, oh, it's only them.
I like that song.
How cool. We were going to see movie
And Juan Gabriel
stars.
liked photography. He liked
He was into it as well.
into photography. And then that time that we went to his house in what was it, in Mexico?
Oh, Toluca.
Toluca. He had a beautiful house. And that house, he wanted it to look like Santa Fe. So they took in some vigas from here all the way down there to put on that house.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
No
For some
kidding.
reason, they couldn't find at that time vigas in
Oh
that
my
part of Mexico.
God, did Buffett make some money on his train plane?
Yeah.
Or train?
And then I took him on a tour of the Santa Cruz
He was-
church.
yeah.
And then he tells me, I want a church just like that. I'm miniature, a little smaller, of course. So I designed a chapel for him and the western town around it. And it's there, it's still there.
So that's not, yeah, what, so somebody else bought the property, obviously.
Yeah, there's some people from
What
Los
are they doing
Angeles.
with it?
They remodeled a lot of it,
Yeah.
but they kept the original. I mean,
Wish the heck they'd have tours, that'd be the first guy in line,
oh
wouldn't that be cool?
gosh, yeah.
That would be cool.
So many people have asked me about tours, and
Yeah.
I just
You should arrange it, man, I'd be interested. I mean, you know, a lot of people.
I know the people that bought it. But we went to Toluca, and as a photographer, he took some real beautiful pictures of Angel at that time, there in that
Of course,
house.
not hard.
Yeah. So he and then he loved chocolate. Oh God, that was probably one of his downfalls. Too much chocolate.
Let's chocolate.
But I miss him.
Yeah.
Because he was so good to
I'll
me
bet
and
you did.
my family.
Yeah. You know,
Good people.
it's good to hear those inside stories, more or less, because I know, how can he not be super duper person, human being?
And he told
be
us once,
so
remember, we were riding and we were
fantastic.
going out towards, we'd take him tours. He'd say, take me someplace where I haven't been, So we took him out to El Weekend,
El
Leiden,
Weekend,
and that
oh.
back road,
Oh,
And
my
that-
gosh.
He told us at the time, he says, una canción es para siempre. Acuérdense que una canción es para siempre.
Wow.
And we were there, no? And he told us that.
And now this interview is going to be up on the internet para siempre.
Para siempre.
It's going to be around.
I like
It's cool to
that,
see.
yeah.
We've never done an interview all
Well,
together
for
like this, so
I'm
it's
so
fun to be
privileged.
together.
I thought that would be wonderful
You know
because
what's beautiful? It's around the same topic is that Jimmy had one suggestion to him, ¿por qué no escribes una canción para Santa Fe, para acá, para esta área? Because he loves Santa Fe.
Sure.
I mean, he lived there for many, many years. And he did. He wrote a song, Qué Bonito Santa Fe. And he names Español. He has a verse for Española, for ABQ, for Chimayo. He talks about Father Casimiro
You're kidding.
Rocas, who was his friend, his
Juan
buddy.
Gabriel?
Yes.
I never heard that one.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Qué
It's a
bonito Santa Fe.
fandango.
We'll have to look for it.
Spirited.
It's
It's
on
a
the album.
beautiful song.
Juntos
Yeah.
Otra Vez album.
Puntos
With-
otra vez.
With Rocío Durcal, yeah.
Lucio Orca.
Rocío Durcal.
Durcal.
She was she's from Spain, and she was one of his most famous female interpreters. Her music is just like amazing.
Oh,
The
yeah.
way she interprets his music, his songs.
Yeah, and I
Beautiful.
suggested that he write a song for Santa Fe, and then he was in one of his studios. He had about 12 houses around the main house there in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
And he says, Jaime. He used to call me Jaime.
Jaime.
He says, Jaime. So he said, una canción para Santa Fe, and he started playing it with his guitar, and he wanted me to hear it,
Yeah.
the beginnings of it.
¿Y qué dijiste tú?
Y le dijo,
What'd you say?
But don't forget Española in there.
Very good.
So that's the first verse in that song. He
Qué
talks
bueno.
about Española not having ¿cómo se llama? Plaza.
Plaza.
That's
Que le falta una. What's the lyrical? Le falta una plaza.
He
Española es
interpreted.
una chiquilla
Muy
muy
coquetilla,
coquetilla que le gusta pasear.
pasear.
Pero no tiene plaza.
Yeah, something like
Pa'
that.
que la case.
So he,
We'll have to listen to it.
No, I got you. I'd like to end this in a song of some, what is it called? There's so many songs that you guys have done. Which one should we do? Not me, you. Una cortita, bueno, even Cielito Lindo, ¿te acuerdas? Que todos conocen. O una de tus canciones, they're just wonderful, I'm telling you. I mean, not to get any attention off of your beautiful singing, but this guy is magic. Qué
Yeah.
bárbaro, qué voz. And,
he just won, for
yo sé que te iba a decir, mira, when we're talking about Juan Gabriel, real quick, my little philosophy, that, our hearts beating and so forth. And I think when we're conceived, it's just, kind of things. The moment we're conceived, if Intel can put so much information in a pinhead, that the good Lord or whatever, and all these generations and all these reincarnates that we do, or incarnations that we do, my God, you must finally finesse that there are so many heartbeats that you're assigned. So there you are, we're doing this thing. But there are some people, like Juan Gabriel, that would just butt off on stage walking back. What's that
Yeah.
guy doing?
Yeah.
So take it easy. I mean, be that spirit, but take it easy. Y eso es lo que por se muere, digo yo, la gente tan rápido que, como Michael Jackson, pues ahí estaban echando tanta porquería. The heart's the most beautiful motor
They
in the
can't take-
world. How can you do and try to? Y se, okay, se acabó. Lights out.
And one of the best healers for the heart is music. One of the best medicines is music, for me.
You should know that, for
And
sure.
so, being in family with music, all that's very special. Even we talked about, our musical influences and stuff. And real quick, my family is one of my biggest musical influences and my biggest support, my mom and dad. And my aunts and uncles, like all our family, they love music. My aunts on my mom's side, my uncles, whenever we have a family gathering, they're always singing, playing the guitars and stuff. My dad's side is musical as well. It goes back like 4 or 5 generations. One of my great-great-great-grandfathers was the choir director of the Loretto Chapel. My Aunt Belen, she's still alive. She's in her 90s. She used to sing as a young girl at all the fiestas, and she'd always tell me, "Oh, mijo, my favorite song that I used to sing was La Feria de las Flores." So every time we play that song too, I think of my Aunt Belen.
Oh,
Your
sweet.
grandma
So-
Anita.
Everybody,
Had an influence.
Juan Gabriel was very influential and everyone knows him, and he was an influence on me and us. but everybody else too is just as important and played just as much role, and that's what makes us us. We take a little bit of all that.
Bravo, bravo, Santiago. How nicely put. Seriously.
And I was just going to say that he won the best a singer, what is it?
Male
Male vocalist of the year.
I am amidst geniuses. I am. Talent, big time.
The New Mexico
Well, you, brother,
Hispanic Music
we've known each
Association.
other a long time.
Yes, we have, Nelson.
And my dear Angel.
Thank you for having
Thank you
us.
so much.
Tan
Thank you, Nelson. De la Sierra Morena, cielito lindo, viene bajando. Un par de ojitos negros, cielito lindo, de contrabando. Ay, 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 canta y no llores, porque cantando se alegran, cielito lindo, los corazones. There we go.
Thank you. The Nelson Martinez Show. It's called Spanglish with Nelson
Thank you,
Martinez.
Nelson.
And a bunch of beautiful friends.
Thank you very
Beautiful
much.
friends.
Gracias.
I think we did this before, but we'll do it again. Thank you. And thank you again. And you can't miss a good night of entertainment of any kind. And good stories. Wait till you meet these folks in person. Boy.
Y que viva Nelson Martinez.
I was
¡Que
waiting for that. No,
viva!
Tune into Nelson's show.
there you go.
Donde hablamos
Very
puro
nice.
Spanglish.
Puro Spanglish, oye. Salió bien. Gracias. Thank you guys for coming.
Es otoño, los amantes ya se fueron. El verano ya se fue. Y luego el mariachi te acompaña, o se supone en este caso. Es otoño, los amantes ya se fueron. Las hojas de los árboles cubren el campo. Sus voces amorosas ya no se escuchan. El verano ya se fue. Mi amor de verano, mi primer amor. Amor de estudiante ya se terminó. Vendrán otros veranos, vendrán otros amores, pero siempre en mi ser vivirá mi amor de verano, mi primer amor. Mi amor de verano, mi primer amor. Amor de estudiante ya se terminó. Vendrán otros amores, pero siempre en mi ser vivirá mi amor de verano, mi primer amor. Mi amor de verano, mi primer amor. Amor de estudiante ya se terminó. Mi amor de verano, mi primer amor. Amor de estudiante ya se terminó.